Welcome to Uncaged. Today we're speaking with Glen Swindell. Glen is the founder of OrangeCore. OrangeCore does a variety of things, but really what they focus on deeply is fractional leadership. Really working with companies to bring in the right types of leaders to move those businesses forward, particularly in spaces like fintech and e-commerce. And so we're going to talk to Glen a little bit about that fractional role and the fractional world that he plays in. But before we get there, Glen, tell us a little bit about you and your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I started my career, I'd say a decade ago or so. Grew up in a rural area and jobs weren't really amazing. Moved into a different area and grew my career from multiple different sectors and industries in sales, security, and then giving myself the opportunity to go into SaaS, which really promoted my career. Um, then went into multiple orgs with as a director, and then made my way into VP of Ecom in sales for a Fortune 500 company, and now founder of OrangeCore.
Yeah, I mean, it's great when you're setting things up, building it, moving companies forward. And I can only imagine the journey that you've been on since setting up OrangeCore in 2021. It's been a
Yeah.
been a wild ride over the last 3 years, but certainly
Yes.
one that I can imagine is full of tremendous positive elements as well. The
Yeah.
world of fractional leadership is one that I think it's really interesting. It's absolutely critical. But take me through a little bit about how OrangeCore works and what types of engagements you have.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's come up a lot in the industry nowadays, and I think it's absolutely critical, especially for startups and that mid-size, because they don't have that ability to really just boast that revenue and additional revenue of bringing on a full-time rep. And so the biggest thing that OrangeCore focuses on are those startups and SMBs simply because that's where we provide the best value. And so not only myself as an executive leader assist with the sales revenue growth functions, I also partner with multiple different fractional leaderships or leaders, sorry, that focus in on multiple different areas such as CFO, CPO, COO, and so on. So the effectiveness of providing not only myself alongside my partners it has been really tremendous.
I can imagine that leadership needs in companies continue to shift and change, ebb and flow.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know right now, I mean, when you're looking out at the customers that you are working with, what's the need? What's the key need right now in the fractional space?
The largest need right now within my clients has been a strategy. Honestly, the biggest thing is a strategy. A lot of times you are coming into an org where they believe they have their strategy in check. They know their go to market, they know their revenue, and all too often do you walk in and they don't. They have
Mm.
no strategy. And that's where their ineffectiveness is because if you don't have a strategy, a really set in stone great strategy, then you're really just, fumbling and knocking all over dominoes. And it's pretty tough. So the largest thing right now is a strategy. And then alongside is business optimization of all the processes.
I think we all need a strategy. It's funny how probably the day-to-day issues that a company faces somehow pulls you away from being able to see the forest and not only
Yes.
just the big trees that are right in front of you. But
Yeah.
I mean, Glen, you've been doing this for a while, and certainly you've built up an incredible level of expertise. And so I mean, you're quite a talented guy. I mean, tell me a little bit about what drives you and why fractional leadership.
I love this question because it really gets my juju going a little bit.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that really drives me are two things. One is seeing the growth of organizations, of the clients that I work with. And then also what is a big thing with Fractional is that I'm not just set at one place for, an extended amount of time. Fractional leadership is essentially temporary. And so
Mhm.
my engagements are sometimes 3 to 6 months on a monthly hours or weekly hours or such. So the ability to assist multiple different clients at the same time has been absolutely amazing, and I love it. It's really what gets me up at 5 a.m. in the morning and has a million cups of coffee. And so, yeah, that's really why I love the fractional role for sure.
I completely see that. And I love the idea of coming in and stepping out. But I mean,
Yeah,
certainly the world is filled with all these major trends that are reshaping enterprises in general. We have,
yeah.
on one hand, machine learning, on another hand, the economy. How are these forces impacting the way you and your customers want to think about leadership?
Yeah, that's a daily aspect that you really have to ensure that's in your mind. I mean, it's the ongoing process that's really hindering or contributing to businesses. And the biggest thing that is happening is a lot of organizations are not utilizing those new upgraded technologies or softwares, and it is becoming a hindrance. So instead of fighting with it, they are fighting against it, and
Mm.
that's where it becomes very problematic for them. So building out your strategy that implements those ideas and those functions is massive for
It
sure.
all comes back to the Swindell strategy.
You got it. That's
So
it.
there you go. You might have a product trademark there. So look, here we are, 2024, Glenn. This is a big year for a lot of people. A lot of things happening. We've got the Olympics going on. We've got a little thing called the election going on in the
Oof.
background. Got people worried about things like the interest rates, et cetera.
Yeah.
What do you see for the rest of this year? What's your outlook?
Yeah, that's a that is definitely a lot going on. And um, as much as I want to see interest rates go down, I understand why Jerome Powell has refused to bring it down with inflation. So, I think organizations right now are really up against the wall for multiple different ideas and products launch. But the problem is that there's no real, view of what's to come for them. And so there's a lot of skepticism as to how they should grow.
Mm,
Because back before the COVID, it was a strategy of essentially grow at all cost.
yeah,
And now it is not, and that cannot be the case because now you have to be way more strategic in what you utilize and pay for, and what you structure your business around. And so my thought process for 2024 is going
yeah.
to see companies revamping their entire business model that is effective in their growth rather than that strategy of grow at all cost.
I'm seeing a lot of those changes when we talk to early stage businesses and even mid-sized companies as they try to prepare for the next phase. But
Mhm.
it's a balancing act. It's always interesting to talk to investors where, one day they'll be like, "Oh, it's only about I just want to make sure you're profitable." And the next day it's like, but growth really matters." You're like, "Okay."
Absolutely.
So I guess
Yes.
the takeaway I have is in 2024 everything matters. Everything
Mm.
matters. So
Yes,
we gotta be perfect in everything. Well, Glenn,
absolutely.
it's been great speaking with you. If someone wanted to learn more about what you and the OrangeCore group are up to, where's the best place to get you?
Sure. Yeah. Just visit the website at orangecoregroup.com, or just because it's you, they can email me at glenn@orangecoregroup.com.
Excellent. Well, Glenn, I'm gonna have to ask you, you're a coffee aficionado. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so everybody teases me, but cold coffee is really my go-to. An iced mocha with an extra shot, that's what gets me going. And at 5 a.m.,
Ooh.
sometimes I might get a little bit of two shots.
Oh man. Well, I love coffee as well, so I completely understand where you're coming from. It's been great speaking with you. I
Pleasure.
think, one of the big takeaways I have here is that as we all focus so much on those tactical points, efficiency, maybe even elements like just getting growth going again, sometimes we kind of lose sight of the bigger picture and really kind of developing that broader integrated approach and strategy. I see it in a lot of companies where they'll have their 10 metrics that they're tracking, and everything is supposed to be on track. But to be perfectly honest, they're never going to do better than their current structure. They're never going to accelerate that unless they crack that somehow. And I think really that Glenn is talking about how do you get to that next level? How do you push the strategy so that you can see that real growth that everyone wants to see? Glenn, thank you so much for being on the show today, and we look forward to having you back.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Look forward to it.